Welcome back to Lions from Lambs. I'm Rob Malone. I'm an elementary school teacher, a student of human moves, and for the past 25 years I've studied success, specifically what it takes to achieve success in an ever-changing world. This channel is primarily directed for parents, caregivers, mentors, coaches, other teachers like myself, anybody involved in the raising of and teaching children. As an elementary school teacher, this is a topic I'm very, very passionate about because the children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. So if we want this world to have any hope and our species to have any hope, we've got to do it by raising strong, assertive, compassionate, empathetic children. So today we're talking about a very pertinent issue, bullying. Now we all know bullying, and at one time or another, almost every single person who's ever walked the halls of a school has dealt with a bully. So in order to tackle bullying, we first have to understand what it is, the nature of bullying. Bullying is not just a disagreement between two kids or people, or it's not a fight. It's not somebody laughing at somebody else or saying something that's not nice. Bullying is repeated, unwanted abuse by one party to another, and it's usually specifically targeted against that particular victim. And that's bullying. Sometimes we get it wrong what bullying is. Sometimes we see our kids get into a fight or an argument. We say, hey, you're bullying my kid, just because that maybe the other child won the fight or seemed to be that they won or they started it. Bullying is repeated unwanted abuse that is specifically targeted over a period of time. That's how bullies operate. They find a target, they repeatedly hit that person. So what do we do about bullying? Can we get rid of it? A lot of people say we've got to stamp out bullying, get rid of it. Well, the sad truth is you can't get rid of bullying. We'll never get rid of it as long as there are people out there who will both see an advantage and see a weakness in another person and take advantage of that weakness so they can get what they want. There's always going to be bullying. I mean, if we could stop bullying with children, yes, we could do it, but guess what? There's adult bullies as well. And, you know, it's just part of human nature to, if we see a weakness, take advantage of it. Not all people are like that. People who have strong senses of empathy, compassion, justice, and values, they don't bully. So, but either way, there are ways we can deal with it. We can certainly combat bullying. And the number one way to combat bullying is to make our kids stronger. Now, I know at first thought there, especially if your child, when you're dealing with younger children, there are all sorts of different sizes. You say, well, hey, hold on a second. My child is, half a foot shorter than the average kid in the class, skinnier. How am I supposed to make him or her stronger? I'm not talking about physical strength. Obviously, children grow at different levels, and until they reach high school, really, it doesn't start leveling out. So now I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm talking about mental and emotional strength. Okay, and that's something that's built in the home. You want to build your child's confidence, because one thing a bully does not like is a confident victim. In fact, a child with confidence usually will not be the target of a bully, or at least they won't be for long, because bullies are very weak. They're like muggers, like purse snatchers. Oftentimes, a robber, a mugger, will not spend much time with a victim who will fight back. And the same is true of bullies, because they realize it's not worth their time, and then they're taking a risk. That perceived weakness, that perceived advantage that they had over a particular child has now really dissipated, and they realize that advantage is no longer applicable. So bullies are very weak. They usually won't target assertive children. You want to foster your child's assertiveness. Let them assert their rights. And how you do that is, as you're raising them when they're younger, allow them to express their opinions and let them know their opinions are valuable. Allow them to set boundaries. Teach them to set boundaries for themselves. An essential quality for children growing up, especially nowadays. So if they are, if they're able to do that and they grow up and it's repeated over and over again, reinforced in the household, then when they do run into these bullies in school, they'll be able to handle them. Now, let me throw a caveat in there. Just because a child is assertive or confident, it doesn't mean that a bully won't test the waters, because that's what they do. They test the waters to see, okay, if I needle this child a little bit, will he push back or will she push back? So I'm not saying just having assertiveness itself and being confident is going to mean your child will just breeze through school. They won't. I don't want it ever to appear as that's what I'm saying. However, when the bully pushes, your child has assertiveness, then they will, whether they push back physically or they push back, simply, how it is when you're talking to somebody who they're probably not who you want to mess with. That's what you want the bully to see. Bullies are very, very good at recognizing that. It won't take long for that bully to decide, hey, this is not worth the trouble. Let's move on. Okay? Bullies don't like resistance and all. They don't like taking risks. So, as you're raising your child with compassion, empathy, assertiveness, this also helps to foster a broader culture of kindness and compassion, because we not only want children to be able to stand up to bullies simply for themselves when someone tries to bully them, we also really want a society, certainly a scholastic society or school community, to where if a bully starts getting on someone, other kids will step in and say, hey, that's not how we do things around here. And very quickly, if that's the gold standard there. If you can build a community of children who will stand up to bully, they won't tolerate bullies. That's really the way to stamp it out, at least in your particular community. Another way to protect children or help shield children from bullying is get them involved in clubs, athletic clubs, band, cheerleading, drill team, music club, things like that, because that fosters a sense of camaraderie. And so if one person on the team is being bullied, of course the teammates are going to step in. And this doesn't always have to, in fact, most of the time these are not going to become physical altercations. That's not what I'm saying at all. But just knowing that, hey, there's strength in numbers. Bullies say, well, I'm not going to mess with, that girl on the drill team because I know her teammates are going to stand up for her, right? And that's really building a sense of community, and that's really what we want. That's what we want for adults. How many times have we heard the stories where people have been assaulted or hurt in public and people stood around? Well, that's because the community simply doesn't have those kind of ethics. Because again, there's strength in numbers. But to stamp out bullying, it takes a broad approach. It's simple, but it's not always easy. But it has to be done, because a lot of times children who end up getting bullied, well, they want to get rid of that feeling of dread every time they go to school. They'll turn sometimes to the wrong crowd. If the right crowd is not standing up for them, they could turn to the wrong crowd. That's where you get a lot of gang affiliation, kids who enter gangs, but mainly for protection. And that is ultimately that's a failure of the community and the adults in the community. We are responsible for building a world that these children can grow up safely in, or at the very least grow up with the tools to help protect themselves and defend themselves against. So those are some things. Obviously, we'll never get rid of bullying, but we can certainly do things to combat it. If you found some value in the video, please click like, and if you like the content, if you click the subscribe button and turn on notifications, you'll be advised anytime new videos come out. Until then, I'll see you next time. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for your time.